Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video session on daily news and editorial analysis dated 16th of December. Through this video session, I'll be discussing the important news and editorial both from the Hindu and Indian Express. The analysis of the news will cater all the aspirant who will be appearing for the Civil Services examination, State Public Service Commission examination, and one-day examination conducted by various state and union agencies. So the analysis of the news will specifically cater the part of examination, and it will help you to write a strong content in the mains as well. So let's get started. First, I'll give you the highlights of the news. Then we'll proceed in detail with each and every news one by one. So first, starting with the highlights of the news. The first important news talks about the non-renewable of the hydrographic survey, which Maldives has called for abrogation. They are not looking forward to renew the pact. So we have seen the downside and the downturn between India and Maldives relations due to the dominance of China. We'll see the detail to this. The second important news talks about India and UK. They're not looking forward with the mobility regime, especially visa की बात करें या फिर FTA की बात करें. Actually, India is looking forward with service sector. यहाँ पे workers को FTA के अंदर भी और ज़्यादा visas मिले, but UK is making a resistance. Third important news talks about the coal transport plan which railway has to execute. What are the challenges that government will be facing in the logistic part in the transportation? We'll see detail to that. The second last important news talks about the export sink again, and trade deficit has been narrowed. Let's see detail to this, the consequences to Indian economy. And I'll be concluding the session with editorial that talks about the time to honor the home country as a Oman. It's an important country that bridge between India and the Gulf region. Something very important article that will give you a deep insight between India and Oman relations. So we'll understand in detail. Let's get started with the news one by one. So the first important news that Maldives has scrapped the hydrographic survey agreement with India. Now this is something which is coming, downturn is coming day by day. And we have seen that the government of Maldives is actually not looking for any extra engagement with India. There are all sort of bilateral agreement and trades are there. But due to over dominance of China and the present government, which is considered to be pro-China, is the main reason behind this kind of decision. So recently, the Maldives government has actually announced to terminate the hydrography agreement that was signed way back in 2019. So this was during the current Prime Minister tenureship where the agreement was signed, and it has due importance considering the fact, अगर आप बात करें map की, if you look at the map towards Maldives, it is the part of geopolitically it is very important. So the region is significant for India. I'll give you a map and I'll make you understand why it is relevant. So first about the hydrography agreement. What is this agreement all about? This was actually signed in June 2019, and this was during the visit when Prime Minister actually made a visit to Maldives. Under this agreement, जो इंडिया की इंडियन नेवी है, the Indian Navy will have a power or will have a authority to improve the part of the navigation safety, economic development, security and defense cooperation. Apart from this, environmental protections, coastal management zone and scientific research can be executed, right? So there's wide ambit with this part of the survey that will be carried out, right? Now, the third hydrographic survey, which was there between India and the Maldives of Navy, your defense forces and national defense forces that have carried out in India, or Navy ship investigators in January. This was between January to February this year itself. So a measure of the part were there between India and Maldives, but after the change of the government, we have seen that this government is not pro-India, rather they're inclined towards China's favoritism. So the hydrographic agreement is actually set to expire in June 2024. So this is set to expire in June, right? Now this is that time where actually India is looking forward with more engagement with Maldives, but the new government has actually recently also called for the the removal of military or any kind of new forces in the region. Now, अगर बात करें मैप की, this is again important why Maldives is important for India. If you look at the map here, This will give you the complete picture. So this is India, the immediate neighbor is Sri Lanka, then we have the other immediate neighbor Maldives, right? और इस रीजन में, तो पैसिफिक रीजन में, ये काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर है जहाँ पे मालदीव्स एज अ इम्पॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट इज कंसिडर बाय इंडिया. एंड इंडिया ने हमेशा प्रायोरिटाइज किया है मालदीव्स को एज अ बायलैटरल रिलेशन इन टर्म्स ऑफ कोविड-19. ऑल्सो कोविड-19 की वैक्सीन की भी अगर बात करें, मैत्री वैक्सीन इनिशिएटिव्स के थ्रू इंडिया ने वैक्सीनेशन भी दी. But this is something, the change of the government, we have to always cooperate and no appreciate the decision. But definitely at this point of time, India is not being favored by Maldives. Now, why Maldives want to withdraw from this agreement? First, I've told you the most prominent region is there more pro-China. Or earlier this week, the government has demanded that the withdrawal of soldiers which was stationed at the country in Maldives, 75 पर्सनल थे जो स्टेशंस थे उनको वापस बुलाने की बात की है. द एग्रीमेंट हैज बीन कैंसिल्ड एंड देयर आर मेनी आइलैंड इन मालदीव्स. कुछ ऐसे आइलैंड है जो कि अभी भी एक्सप्लोर नहीं है. वो चाइना एक्चुअली लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड दिस गवर्नमेंट इज लुकिंग फॉर, आई मीन दे आर मेकिंग अ impression that they are pro China. So these are some of the possible reason why there is a cold shouldering to India by the Maldives, and we definitely want to improve our relationship with Maldives. But the fact is that the opponent or the counterpart also need to take with the due diligence and ensure that we are working towards a good bilateral relationship. Now, moving ahead, UK flags migration concern with India. Now, there are a lot of concern when it comes to India and UK. बहुत सारी ऐसे FTA की deals हैं. There are certain chapters which is there still pending. इस बार यूनाइटेड किंगडम इज नॉट लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड विद मोबिलिटी नॉर्म्स, खास करके सर्विस सेक्टर में, जहाँ पे इंडिया ने डिमांड किया है कि एफटीए को ध्यान में रखते हुए सर्विस सेक्टर को फर्दर इंप्रूव करने की जरूरत है. देयर आर लॉट ऑफ अदर वीजाज, द पीपल दैट आर एक्चुअली वर्किंग कैन बी इम्प्रूव्ड, बट यूके के साथ अपनी माइग्रेशन प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. विल सी व्हाई यूके इज मेकिंग अ रेजिस्टेंस ऑन दिस पार्ट. सो इंडियाज डिमांड की अगर बात करें, इंडिया वांट एन ईजियर नॉर्म्स टू द कंपनीज. बेसिकली जो सर्विस सेक्टर में जो भी कंपनीज काम कर रहे हैं, इंडिया के जो डोमिनेंट सेक्टर है, सर्विस सेक्टर इज अमंग वन ऑफ देम. वी आर having a large part of service sector, a chunk where the people are working in Britain, and UK has been reluctant in giving the migration concern. Now India is seeking liberal visa regime. अगर बात करें companies की, they are also looking to send the skilled professional to UK. So there are a lot of other professional apart from tech sector, the service sector which is there. The people are definitely looking forward to contribute, but वहाँ पे माइग्रेशन इश्यूज या फिर वीज़ा के इश्यूज की वजह से कई ऐसे लोग हैं जो अपने सब्सटेंशियल कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं दे पा रहे. Now, migration concern is there with UK. UK, on the other hand, is worried about the visa restrictions that is there due to the huge migration which is there. तो वीज़ा में restrictions की गई है. पोस्ट ब्रेग्जिट जो माइग्रेशन इशू है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा डोमिनेंस है यूके की गवर्नमेंट में. एंड रवांडा हैज़ ऑल्सो बिकम वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट इशूज़. खास करके प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने वहाँ पे ये भी कहा है लोअर हाउस में दैट जो असाइलम सीकर्स है दैट कमिंग फ्रॉम रवांडा is something that need to be cut down, and they're not looking forward with any other immigrations coming to the region. The UK government has so unveiled 5 point जहाँ पे जो डिक्रीज्ड immigrations हैं and increase a minimum salary for the skilled workers should be taken into consideration for the overseas. But again, the concern remain between India and United Kingdom. And when we are discussing about the migration to UK, you need to understand the countries with population of India. बेसिकली यूके ऐसी कंट्री है जहाँ पे टॉप 6 कंट्रीज में आती है जहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा इंडियन है. इफ यू लुक एट द इमेजेस है, द मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल एंड द इंडियन डायस्पोरा देयर इन यूएस के बाद जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट कंट्रीज है जहाँ पे इंडियन डायस्पोरा सबसे ज़्यादा प्रेजेंट है दैट इज़ यूएई. देन वी हैव सऊदी अरेबिया. उसके बाद कुछ और कंट्रीज आती है लाइक म्यांमार. देन वी हैव यूके, देन कनाडा. सो दीज आर द कंट्री where over 1 million people overseas Indian are actually residing, right? तो इस वजह से भी UK की concern है that migration issues which is already lingering around in the US government, I mean UK government, whether they will be allowing more, तो क्या उनके migrations में और ज़्यादा impact होगी. So these are the concern that UK is actually taking care of. Now moving ahead, FTA की अगर बात करें, the free trade agreement which is there between India and UK, there's no resolutions to this as well. ये November 2022 में conclude होनी थी, but due to some reason or other, the part of the negotiation has not yet been resolved, right? कुछ ऐसे issues हैं like रूल ऑफ ऑरिजिन, लंदन ने यूके ने डिमांड किया है टू कंसेशनल फॉर द इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स एंड नॉन अबाउट द सर्विसेज। और इसमें टोटल 26 चैप्टर्स हैं। द टोटल 26 चैप्टर्स आर देयर इन दिस एग्रीमेंट, where goods and services, investment, and intellectual property right, that is the IPR right, will be taken into consideration. Still, we do not know when it will be concluded. It's almost a year delay. Now, moving ahead, IEEFA has highlighted the coal and the logistic challenge that is existing with the part. तो रेल में खास करके कोल की जो लॉजिस्टिक है वो किस तरह से प्रॉब्लम कर सकती है इंडियन रेलवेज को, उसके क्या क्या रिपोर्कशंस होंगे, दैट हैज बीन देयर। द इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ एनर्जी इकोनॉमिक्स एंड फाइनेंशियल एनालिसिस, उन्होंने अपने रिपोर्ट में बताया है दैट इंडियन रेलवे गोल टू बूस्ट the road transportation for at least like 400 million ton in the next 8 year is hindering the congestion and the logistic challenges. See, there are already dedicated freight corridor which is there by the government of India. कई ऐसे projects हैं जो एक्चुअल में इज मेकिंग अ प्रोग्रेस, स्टिल नॉट कंप्लीटेड, बट उससे पहले जो कंजेशनल और लॉजिस्टिक चैलेंजेस हैं उसके बारे में कुछ रिपोर्ट में हाईलाइट की गई है। So if you look at the freight and passengers part, so they have recalled that जो कोल की सप्लाई है इन crisis has continued in May 2020 when there were 1900 passengers train that was cancelled and the priorities called for the movement. कोल के मूवमेंट को लेकर के ज़्यादा प्रायोरिटाइज रखी गवर्नमेंट। वी हैव नेशनल रेल प्लान जो कि फोरकास्ट करती है 46% राइज इन द नॉन सब अर्बन पैसेंजर्स डेली and from 13 million to 19 million by 2031. These are the data that has been forecasted. And there could be total substantial double burden in the Indian Railway, expanding the freight as well as passengers capacity. So to make both simultaneously working, we need to devise out the solutions where passengers के लिए different policies हो और freight corridors के लिए अलग policies हो, which actually government is working with. The coal transport from the mine to power plant will remain the weakest link in the cold chain with immediate futures, right? So government also need to think upon कि किस तरह से जो logistic part है, जो logistic challenges हैं, उनको overcome किया जा सके. Now there's a national rail plan which is preferred and assumed to be that freight rate will increase by 25 km per hour to 50 km per hour by 2051, within 30 km per hour is to be achieved by 2026. This is what has been envisaged under the national rail plan, and there's a focus on the speed specifically. Now, other ambitious challenges that the coal poses. This is a very important image. I request you to please take this screenshot. So India planned to have more than double the coal freight by Indian Railways in the next few years. अगर बात करें ओवर कैपेसिटी, एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। इंटीग्रेटेड कोल लॉजिस्टिक प्लान की ज़रूरत है जहाँ पे कोल इवैक्यूएशन प्रोजेक्ट और फ्रीट कॉरिडोर्स के साथ काम की जा सकती है ताकि रेलवे के जो कंजेशंस हैं खास करके इस लाइन में उसे कम किया जा सके, राइट। एक्सक्लरेटिंग द एनर्जी कुड ऑल्सो प्रिवेंट द रेल ट्रैक फ्रॉम कंजेशन और इसके साथ साथ एक डेडिकेटेड कॉरिडोर बना करके भी गवर्नमेंट काम कर सकती है। द अदर पार्ट इज द अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट दैट इज इन्वॉल्व एंड डाइवर्स सोर्सेज from the renewable project impacting the overall railway performance. Now the passenger experience reduced speed delay, cancellations and coal and other freight can take the precedent. तो अगर दोनों के लिए स्पेसिफिकली रूट्स होंगी तो पैसेंजर्स जो ट्रैवल कर रहे हैं, जो पैसेंजर रूट की ट्रेन है, उसको किसी तरह से भी इम्पैक्ट नहीं होगा. So this is a very important point that has been highlighted. If you are writing specifically in the mains examination, you can use all these points. Now moving ahead, India's export dropped in the trade deficit narrow in November. We have seen that the merchandise export has actually contracted. ये काफ़ी ज़्यादा contraction हुई और पिछले 11 महीनों में ये अभी तक की सबसे high contractions है. And the volatile demand has been even uneven economic recovery की तरफ. I mean there's a critical indication of that. Export and trade की बात करें, the datas are there. I mean if you're comfortable with data, you can even code that. If not, you need to know the trend. According to the data जो रिलीज की गई by Commerce Department, it says that the export has actually declined by 2.8% और year on year basis. और ये कितनी नंबर पे आई है? $33.9 billion, right? And import has dipped up by 4.3%. So this number is again important. 4.3% है जो कि trade deficit हुई है at 20.6 billion. The deficit has widened the record of 31.5 billion in October, which has reached up to 54.5. And demand in the October during the festive where the sharp increase was seen in the import of gold and silver. उसके बाद ये अभी तक की सबसे बड़ी dip है. The decline in the export in the November are much for this year due to the high fall in the petroleum and engineering product shipments. So there are some consequences and the reason to this downturn, but definitely we're expecting that the export and the trade trend will take an upward movement. Now, these are the graphical representations of the situation that is ongoing with the economy. You can see the merchandise trade good. This is for the month of April, and this for April 2021, and this is for November 2023. This represent export part, and this is for the trade deficit. Now, moving ahead with the editorial for the day. This editorial is very important, which talks about India and Oman relation in general. And this will give you a deep insight that how the country is so significant for country like India and its geopolitical importance. So what I'll be discussing first, we'll see the India and Oman relations, defense and strategic importance of Oman, India Oman की strategic partnership, bilateral trade, कुछ other engagement देखेंगे and the way forward. Now, the Sultan of Oman is making visit to India, right? He has already, while I'm recording this lecture, he might have visited India. And this will be the first visit assuming the charge in January 2020. उसके बाद ये पहली visit है किसी भी head of state from the Oman. The Prime Minister has actually made visit to Oman in 2018, and this was first visit from any Prime Minister of India visiting Oman. So this is something which is again important in this juncture where both countries are looking forward to augment their bilateral trade and relationship. Now, India और Oman की relations की अगर बात करें, there is a long-standing friendly and diplomatic relationship between India and Oman. दोनों countries ने काफ़ी हद तक काम किया है, and for the Arabian Gulf region, the Oman as a country become again very important. Oman is a gateway to Strait of Hormuz, through which India's import 1/5 is of oil. तो स्टेट ऑफ हार्मोज की अगर बात करें वहाँ पे ओमान काफ़ी ज़्यादा सिग्निफिकेंट हो जाती है. यू कैन सी दिस इज अ स्टेट ऑफ हार्मोज, राइट? दिस इज रिप्रेजेंटेड हियर. So this is the state of Hormuz, right? Represented by surrounded by other country like Iran, UAE, Oman. So the map will become important for you to understand. The state of Hormuz की अपनी significance है. Oman location is outmost strategically important for country like India. Now, defense or strategic partnership में बात करें, there are other pillars that both country are actually working with. जो memorandum of understanding है between two countries were actually signed in 2015, and there are different military exercises and joint exercises between India and Oman forces. Access to Gulf की अगर बात करें, as I've told you, through the when the region it is becoming also important through Gulf of Hormuz, that the significance portion has been catered. और इंडिया अपनी डिफेंस और स्ट्रैटेजिक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी इस रीजन को काफ़ी ज़्यादा एडमायर करती है. इंडिया, यूएई एंड ओमान आर द की स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनर फॉर द गल्फ रीजन. नाउ, न्यूक्लियर डील के टाइम में भी ओमान ने एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट और सिग्निफिकेंट रोल अदा किया था. द ईरान न्यूक्लियर डील इन 2015 वाज वेल डॉक्यूमेंटेड, and during the GCC Qatar diplomatic standoff, Oman refused to join Saudi Arabia and other countries as a diplomatic ties with Qatar in June 2017. So it has always stand out as a friendly country with India. Now, India और Oman की strategic partnership की बात करें, specifically if you look at the West Asian policy, where India has always been looking into as a priority, multifaceted engagement रही है between the countries. India and Oman has a strategic partnership in November 2008, and it is based on twin pillar, right? This is based on twin pillar where the mutual trust is definitely prioritized. Oman as a country has been invited with G20 presidency, जो इस बार की G20 presidency हुई थी, जिसको इंडिया ने actually head किया था. India was a current chair. So this year Oman was invited as a part of G20 guest country. So you can see the relevance and importance of the Oman that actually India put in for this country. Now, bilateral trade value की अगर बात करें, ट्रेड और कॉमर्स में काफ़ी ज़्यादा engagement है. The bilateral trade has reached up to 12.388 billion, and this is over 6,000 Indian Oman joint venture जो कि ऑपरेट कर रही है, जिसकी टोटल वैल्यू इन्वेस्टमेंट में 7.5 बिलियन के आसपास है. India is the second largest country with Oman crude oil export 2022 में after China, and in October 2022 India and Oman has actually made Rupee debit card. Rupee debit card actually वहाँ पे start की गई थी. This was a part of DPI that called for digital public infrastructure, और इंडिया ने अपनी असिस्टेंस से ओमान में रुपे डेबिट कार्ड को भी लॉन्च किया. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट इफ यू आर अ स्टूडेंट हु आर हैविंग ऑप्शनल PSIR, जिनके PSR ऑप्शनल है, वो ये पॉइंट ज़रूर अपने मेंस के आंसर में लिखेंगे. Now, other important part when it comes to India and Oman, what are the things that is imported and exported between the countries? So import की अगर बात करें, rice, spices, textile, clothes, wood and ship for shipbuilders. Export dates, the dry woods, pearls, almonds, herbal medicines, silk, sulfur from the Gulf. So these are the between import and export between India and Oman. Now, कुछ और engagement की बात करें, apart from this, the space sector cooperation is also there. Space is again very important. The part of ISRO is also making a collaboration जहाँ पे ओमान के साथ engagement की गई है. Other possibilities of exploring the rare metal, electronic equipments, and strengthening the partnership are the core priority of Government of India. The proposed IMEEC, that is India Middle East यूरोप कनेक्टिविटी, वो भी एक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट है जो वेस्ट एशिया को कनेक्ट करने में काफ़ी हद तक मदद करेगी. नाउ द मैप वर्क फॉर IMEEC is important. So you can check here which are the countries and how this will be connected. So these are the total country. I mean you can look here. This are the part. इंडिया के साथ अदर कंट्रीज भी हैं जो कि एक्चुअल कोलैबोरेट करेंगे इस सी रूट. Now, the part of way forward, India is actually looking for a deeper engagement and collaborations with West Asia, and Oman is definitely an important pillar and the pivotal among all the countries. Now, वहाँ पे जो Diggum port है, which is again the middle of the international shipping, is connecting between East and West, right? And India definitely out to have a strong collaborations between Oman, ताकि वहाँ की जो रीजन है, खास करके इंडो पैसिफिक की जो डोमिनेंस है उस रीजन में, वो वेस्टर्न और सदर्न सेक्टर दोनों को कनेक्ट करती है, एंड इवन इज अ पार्ट फॉर इंडियन ओशन एज वेल. सो दिस कनेक्ट बिटवीन वेस्टर्न एंड सदर्न सेक्टर ऑफ इंडियन ओशन. Oman has a pivotal role when India is seeking a deeper engagement and collaboration with the West Asia. So we, and in general, as geopolitical, as a part of Indo-Pacific, as a part of trade, as a part of trade and investment, Oman is an important country. The recent MOUs that will be signed, because the head of the state has made a visit to India. So जितने भी MOU sign होंगे, जो important declarations होंगे, we'll also discuss to that in our next video session. जो जैसे engagement development होगी दोनों countries के बीच में, I'll make you aware of that fact also. Now moving ahead with the answers and discussion. कल के जो सवाल है उसके पहले ऑप्शंस का करेक्ट ऑप्शन है ए. इसमें जो करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट है वो 1 है. यू चेक आउट व्हाट यू हैव मार्क्ड एज अ करेक्ट ऑप्शन. The second question is about the radio network. इसमें ऑप्शन ए करेक्ट है. The statement 1 is correct. So you have to read out the complete explanation so that you come to know what are the mistakes that you are making in the answer and attempting the question. So detailed analysis will definitely give you the part of clarity on that particular questions. Moving ahead with the MCQ questions for the day. The first question is about the stock social exchange. You have to consider the statement. It is a social entrepreneur obtaining the capital from the investor. Only institutional investor can phase out security issues with the social business. The non-profit organization can raise zero coupon, zero principal instrument. To participate in the question answer, you have to just write question number 1 followed by your correct option, either A, B, C or D, and you can write down that in the comment section down below. Your participation will definitely help you and us to give it with more quality questions to you for the upcoming examination. The second question for the day is about the PACE mission. It's a collaborations between the European Space Agencies and ISRO. It intends to investigate the light aerosols and the quality, the part of the quality of the climate, the clouds and other stuffs will be taken care through the PACE mission. So to write the answer for this particular question, what you have to do is very simple. Just write question number 2 followed by your correct option, writing that in the comment section down below. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQs. If you have any other concern about test series, admissions, programs, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying connected.